Sadhu, sadhu.
You got questions?
Yes.
Okay, good morning everybody, and let us begin with our metta recital. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds, whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will, should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment. Whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought, let us begin our mindfulness practice. As you know, we repeat the same instructions every day because that is exactly what we should do. You don't feel that is boring or repetitive. The entire life is repetition. We don't do only one thing only once in life. We repeat them again and again, including our mistakes. And therefore, this is not something unusual. Let us focus our mind on our breath and notice the breath touching our nostrils, reaching lungs, expanding lower abdomen. As we breathe out, lower abdominal area contracts, lung area contracts, the breath leaves our nostrils. These functions take place all the time we breathe in and out. And notice the feeling that arises when we breathe in and out, perceptions, thoughts, consciousness. These what we call are the aggregates: body, breath, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness. And they also rise and fall to the same rhythm of rising and falling of everything else and everyone else in the universe. This rising and falling, expanding and contracting is universal rhythm that all living, breathing beings experience, and even non-breathing beings. And knowing this reality, our mind does not try to make a futile effort to hold on to anything, because everything is rising and falling without remaining even for 1 nanosecond stay fixed. And therefore we let go of our desire or greed to hold on to anything, especially during this practice. And then when the body, feeling, perceptions, thought, consciousness are rising and falling and relax. Since they are not trying to hold on to them, they themselves naturally continue their rhythm. So we feel relaxed. In that relaxed state of mind, metta feeling arises. Metta feeling also leads to compassion. When compassionate feeling arises, our resentment or our when metta feeling arises, resentment fades away, and then when metta feeling arises, resentment fades away, compassion arises. When compassion arises, our thought of cruelty or restlessness and worry fades away. When the restlessness and worry fades away, the mind becomes even more energetic because we begin to see some beneficial results, wholesome results that we are always looking forward to. When the wholesome results such as this arise, we became more encouraged, get more energy, then sleepiness and drowsiness fades away. When they fade away, even more relaxed our mind becomes and joy arises. Joy arises seeing the benefit more clearly and doubt fades away. When doubt fades away and joy stays with these mental factors, letting go of our greed, hatred, cruelty, restlessness and worry, sleepiness and drowsiness, all fading away, joy arises, and that leads to happiness. When the mind is happy, it is settled, calm, more relaxed, and tranquility arises. And the mind with tranquility leads to concentration, to unite the mind with all wholesome mental states, to work together in unison as one team. At that time, we gain better concentration. The concentrated mind always is very sharp and clear. That state of mind is not a passive sleepy state. That is very subtle state that notices the subtlest changes in our body, feeling, perceptions, thought, and consciousness. Physically, we feel changes. Mentally, we feel changes. And these changes, rising and falling, in one word called impermanence. Something arises and passes away without leaving anything behind, no trace. When, so let us continue to see this in our own personal experience during this short period of meditation. Dukkha patta cha nidukkha, bhaya patta cha nibhaya, soka patta cha nisoka, ontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this mental thought in mind, let us try to focus our mind on the answers to this question that Brian will ask me.
Okay. Dear Bhante Ji, in the section of mindfulness of feelings, the Buddha tells about pleasant, painful, and neither painful nor pleasant feelings. In Indriya Bhavana Sutta, MN Majjhima Nikaya 152, the Buddha says that when a bhikkhu sees a form with the eye, there arises what is agreeable, what is disagreeable, and what is both agreeable and disagreeable. How shall we understand this, and how are these states related to feelings? Would it be possible to give an example of what is both agreeable and disagreeable? Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. That's a good question. Actually, I was going to talk about all these things in detail. Uh, so today I like to give a very brief answer to this question since there are some other questions. These, of course, are on my mind. So you seem to have jumped ahead uh, to ask this question. Now, pleasant, unpleasant, or pleasant, painful, or neither pleasant nor painful are feelings. Indriya Bhavana Sutta, agreeable, disagreeable, neither agreeable nor disagreeable.
It says both agreeable and disagreeable. This is the question is because here it says neither nor, and this one says both.
Both and. Agreeable and disagreeable.
Yeah.
When meditator experience not both at the same time, but meditator, the one who practices mindfulness, experience one at a time. And so he does not experience both agreeable and disagreeable together. But he experiences this moment agreeable, or this time agreeable, next time disagreeable, and he experiences these two both. That's what it means. So this doesn't mean the mixed feeling. Sometimes one may mix this idea with the mixed feelings. Mixed feelings is not a feeling. This is indecisiveness of the mind. And therefore people use this word mixed feeling. Anyway, since you have not used this word, I don't want to put this into your mouth, your mind. But both pleasant and what you call agreeable and disagreeable, yeah. What is both agreeable and disagreeable? That is pleasant feeling and painful feeling. One time you may experience pleasant feeling, next moment you may experience painful feeling. Meaning, when pleasant feeling disappears, then he experiences painful feeling. When painful feeling disappears, he experiences pleasant feeling. So when disagreeable feeling is there, it is painful. When agreeable feeling is there, it is pleasant. So this can alter, and he understands both. It happens very quickly sometimes. As soon as disagreeable feeling appears, it disappears, and agreeable feeling arises and disappears. So that is what it means. One experience one, and stays very quickly disappears, and another feeling experiences arises. That is where he gets purity of equanimity. In the fourth jhana, both mindfulness and equanimity becomes pure. Uh, Sati upekha sati parisuddhi is the Pali word. Upekha sati parisuddhi. Upekha is neither pleasant, neither agreeable, agreeable nor disagreeable. Feeling is called upekha. And that becomes pure when one attains the fourth jhana, along with the purification of its mindfulness. Okay?
Thank you, Bante.
Next question.
Next question. Dear Bante Ji, from my younger days, we were told that Prince Siddhartha sneaked out in the night when he left the palace to seek the truth. Some people were not happy about the way he left home. When I was reading the Arya Pariyasana Sutra, I was very happy to read how the Buddha told how he, after cutting his hair and donning a robe, left home amidst the wailing of his parents. It's important for everyone to know that he left with everyone's knowledge and did not sneak out. It leaves a bad taste. Could you please clarify this for me?
Yes. I think that's a very good question. Let me give a little elaborate answer to this question. Uh, Most people know that when Siddhartha child was born, an ascetic came from Himalayan mountain where he was meditating, and he had certain supernatural powers. He knew that this baby was born. He came to see the baby. And he said this baby is going to be Buddha, nothing else. So he cried because he would not live long enough to see this Buddha. But he smiled, seeing that this child becomes a Buddha. And he left with this message. That means giving this message to King Suddhodana right away. On his naming day, 8 Brahmins came. Youngest Kondanya said that this child is going to be the Buddha, nothing else. So when this happened to this child in the palace, they could not keep it as a secret. This spread all over his kingdom. And the woman he married is Yasodhara. She was also in that country, was born, it is said, on the same day. But she also came to know that this man, this child, will be my husband. I am going to marry him. And I'm sure he's not going to stay with me all the time because ascetic, this young Skandanya Brahmin, predicted that he is going to be a Buddha. And it is marked in all his life. So he heard him different from other children. He was not violent, he was peaceful, he didn't like wars, he didn't like power, he didn't like anything material. And however, because of the arrangement, she married him. When even after marriage, even when they were together, she might have noticed this Siddhartha is not going to be my husband forever. He will be leaving me soon. She might have asked him to leave, to give her a child before he left, so that she can see the child, she can see the husband in the child. So he gave her a child. With all this background, parents knew Siddhartha is not going to be home, going to be a successor to King Suddhodana. They might have been worrying, talking, and asking him not to go. But he made up his mind. He said, no, this is just like living in a prison. I have so many, what do you call, big harem, so many women. I don't enjoy all this now. I don't enjoy palace life. I don't enjoy war. I want to be peaceful. So king might have tried to persuade him to stay home. Mahaprajapati might have tried to persuade him to stay home. And Yasodhara knew that he was going to leave. And she probably might have made up her mind, well, this is what he wants to do. I don't want him to be miserable living in the palace. I want him to be happy. So I want to wish him good luck, be happy. And she probably might have been crying. Foster mother Mahaprajapati was crying, Suddhodana was crying, and Siddhartha said, however, I am leaving, but when I find my goal, I will come back. So while they were crying, certainly he must have left. I also don't believe from the very beginning that Siddhartha left or sneaked out of the house in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping in the pitch dark. I don't believe in that. This part we never find any suttas. This, I don't know how they got this part to say this untasteful, unpalatable part of the Buddha Siddhartha's renunciation. Siddhartha was born to become Buddha. According to tradition, he performed perfections for many, many eons to become a Buddha. So he doesn't have to sneak out in the middle of the night. He said, I was born to be Buddha. I want to be Buddha. You take care of your palace, your kingdom, and family and so forth. I'm going. I live. So probably there must be. And that is exactly what she said in Arya Pariyesana Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya says. Nowhere in any sutta Buddha says that Buddha left home in the middle of the night. She is right. I think this must be corrected.
Thank you, Bhante. Wonderful explanation. Okay. I practice meditation continuously every day, at least at least 2 to 3 sittings per day. And then I try to read about the Dhamma and read and discuss suttas at least once or twice per week and listen to Dhamma talks and discussions. I strictly maintain all any wrongdoings with my word or with my body, but still I have some mind wrongdoings. Lobha at times, dosa when I hear any wrongful things other people do, and I see my mind going behind very unpurposeful thoughts. I am able to stay with my meditation, my objective meditation, and observe the breath again and again. When I see these during my meditation, I do the opposite of them, like thinking about nekama avyapada. Is that right, sir?
Okay. Understand the good question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Whoever asked this question, my dear, I must say, you say you sit and meditate several times a day. And you read books, you listen to Dhamma talk, you discuss Dhamma. What do you do for yourself? You see, when greed arises, lobha, or anger or desha arises, or confusion arises, what would you do? Now, no matter how much Dhamma you discuss, how much you think about the wrongdoing, other people's wrongdoing, you are not going to get an iota of insight to clean yourself, to get rid of your greed, hatred and delusion. You may think of nekkhamma sankalpa, you may think of avyapada sankalpa, you may think of avihingsa sankalpa. Thinking of them is not enough. Discussing of them is not enough. Listening to these discourses on them is not enough. What is most important is when greed arises, you ask yourself, not verbally, you look at your mind how painful it is. When you look at your mind, when greed arises, pain arises. That is very natural. Greed means insatiability of your desire. You always feel not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough, little more, not enough, little more. Ask yourself, don't you have that kind of feeling, that kind of thought, and address that. And you see that this not enough is the, the nature of greed, desire. And this desire makes me unhappy, painful. And this desire, all that I got all these years to fulfill my desire, has not fulfilled my desire. If I get more in future, if I would get in future, that also, no matter how much I get in future, will not satisfy my desire. Why? Desire is not steady, static, it is changing. Tanha pono bhavika nandi raga sagata tatra vinandini, Buddha said. It delights here and lose interest in that and delight in something else. Lose interest in that, then look for something else. Lose interest in that and look for something else, so forth. it keeps repeating again and again and again. That means your wish is impermanent, satisfaction is impermanent, desire is impermanent. So you see impermanent nature of your wanting, greed, and then you see your you want to satisfy your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. So you want to see, you want to hear, smell, taste, touch and think. And all these are keeping changing. They all are changing, changing all the time. And therefore, you have to let go of this troublemaking greed in yourself. Thinking about Nekshama Sankapi is not enough, but doing something to put Nekshama into practice is important. Every time greed arises, you learn to let go of this greed. Let go of it. Of course, when you come out of meditation, you again begin to have greed, and again you think, this greed I can never satisfy. I must be content. What I get is enough for my living, and I don't need anything more. So try to reduce your own greed as it arises. Listening to Dhamma talk is not enough. Reading the book is discussions, not enough. But inwardly, personally, privately, secretly, within yourself, you have to do it. And by doing so, we can reduce our desire. I tell you, this is practical, this is doable, and you will be able to do it. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante. Um, could you please explain about the meaning of worldly and unworldly feeling?
Okay, that also I'm going to explain in my next talk tomorrow. Worldly and unworldly. In fact, somebody has translated, or we translated, as carnal and not carnal. Carnal is physical, not carnal is not physical. Uh, to make it even clearer, I would say feeling with greed, hatred, and delusion is carnal feeling. Feeling with greed, hatred, and delusion, we can say a carnal feeling. Feeling without greed, hatred, and delusion is non-carnal feeling, a carnal feeling. Samisa, Niramisa. Samisa, Niramisa, Pali word. When feeling arises with greed, hatred, and delusion, that feeling will trigger your mind to do wrong things. Wrong thing means things, thought, words, and deeds that cause you harm, cause others harm, and cause both harm. That is the nature of carnal feeling, or feeling with greed, hatred, and delusion. You cause harm to yourself, you cause harm to others, or you cause harm to both. With non-carnal feeling, where there is no greed, hatred, and delusion, when this arises, your thoughts, words, deeds will be beneficial to you, beneficial to others, beneficial to both. And therefore, the non-carnal feeling is positive, wholesome. Carnal feeling is unwholesome. I will explain it in more detail tomorrow when I go to that section.
But
Yes.
I think we have two very good questions here. So here's the first one. About not letting the physical pain lead to the mental pain. The physical pain is the primary feeling, the Vedana. Is the mental pain, which is actually a choice, considered a sankhara or a sanya?
Right. You see, physical pain is called dukkha, mental feeling is called domanassa. Physical feeling is called dukkha, mental feeling is called domanassa. Dukkha is sankhara, domanassa is sankhara. That means neither of them free from the label sankhara. Both are sankharas. Sankhara means always repairing. Dukkha, physical dukkha also repeating and repairing, mental dukkha or somanasa repeating and repairing, and therefore they both are called sankhara. They both fall into the category of sankhara.
Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's see. Do we ever have a mental feeling as the primary feeling without its physical counterpart?
Mental feeling, somanasa or domanasa without any physical contact? No. Why not? Mental feeling arises from the memory of something that happens in the past. Or when you achieve something mentally, you experience mental feeling. Your achievement is related to your the body and the mind, both together. No achievement can be achieved without the participation of both mentality and materiality. So long as mentality and materiality are involved, your feeling is related to both mentality and materiality. So, suppose you meditate and get rid of all your defilements, and you are in a very, very peaceful mental state. That is a very powerful, peaceful state, and that state has the background in the mentality and materiality. The soil, so to say, are mentality and materiality for this peaceful state to arise. Otherwise, peaceful state does not arise from nothing. And therefore, they all have the basis of mentality and materiality. I think this question also good question.
Good question.
I think we have done for the morning.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions
Answered. Yeah.
answered.
May not be in detail or fully, but we want to keep up with the time. We have to manage the time. So, thank you very much for asking these questions. Saturday normally number is small, but today we have quite a good number. And we want to conclude this metta beginning, wishing all those who have who are now suffering from COVID-19. That number is increasing every day. It doesn't seem to be decreasing anyway, at least in the United States. So we want to wish all of them to be free from this COVID-19 and return to normal health and continue their life with understanding Dhamma and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. There are many people, some of them are my friends, our friends, Bhavana Society's friends, who have lost their loved ones and they have been grieving, and we want to wish them to be free from grief through the understanding of Dhamma and liberate from samsaric suffering. There are many patients taken care of by many doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs, and we want to wish those nurses and doctors and nurses and hospital staffs to be free from this and not to get caught in, not to have this, not to infected by this COVID-19 and continue their marvelous compassionate service and live long in very good health, continue their noble service, and finally they too liberate from themselves from samsaric suffering. There are leaders who have done good job, and we want to wish them continue their good service and be free from some those things. There are other leaders who are not doing so well with regard to dealing with this COVID-19. We want to wish them courage, understanding, determination, patience, and wisdom and compassion to make right decision, wise decision to make this COVID-19 reduce and disappear and bring people back to their normal life, and may all of them, including ourselves, be free from samsaric suffering and attain Nibbana.